Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be doing another What's It Worth. And obviously, we've done the Emerald, we've done the Ruby, and obviously the previous three colors before that. And so getting straight to the point, the last on the list, which will be the Loomian sitting right behind me, being none other than the Gleam Sapphire Scorb. And this bad boy was actually lent to me by Draco Fire, aka Abyss on YouTube. So here's actually a YouTube channel. Major shout out to you. Go subscribe to them and check out their content. And while we're also on the subject, another major shout out to Reliable Values once again. If you guys didn't already see it, Reliable Values and I have already partnered, and as of that, it works as a great value list. I would also recommend it very much for the community. As of now, it's been very cooperative with me as well. So just for that sake, it's very nice. I would definitely recommend it, especially for values. And if you just need any sort of discussions regarding any of that stuff, you can find that all there, and they get all their information relatively up to date. But before I go onwards, remember to keep everything I say with a grain of salt, as each of these values and demands are very much subject to change and can change at any point in time. That being said, we can see this being around almost 40 GR with good demand to almost about 60 GR with great demand total. And once again, like I did say, this can change very much easily in time. As for the odds, you can find this at a 1 in 160,000 chance to find in the wild, making it one of the rarest things you can find in this event. So this being said, let's get straight into the trading process. Before we actually type in anything, please don't comment about the farmer outfit. I play Grow Gardener a little too much. But anyways, let's go in the chat and let's type in looking for offers on Gleam Sapphire Scorb. And boom. And now let's wait for offers. Alright, and the first trade request is coming from Desired Unit. So let's see what Desired has to share with us today. So we're sort of with a Gleam Christmas Ikazune Tender Smart, a Gleaming Halloween Blue Cephalops, Clever Sluggish. And it does seem like this may be Desired's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. Alright, and it did just confirm with Desired as to whether or not this is their final offer or not, and he did just say yes. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Now for obvious reasons, the Gleam Christmas Ikazune is going to be a major overpay. That being said, it's around almost 40 to 50 GR with OP demand as its base. And as for the Gleaming Halloween Cephalops, those have been on a current demand rise. So with that in mind, it's a no-brainer, and you'd want to take this trade immediately. But with this being said, let's get into our next trade. Alright, and the next trade request is coming from Reflex. So let's see what Reflex has to share with us today. So we start off with a Gamma Dakuda Pure Nimble, Gamma Ferroglyph Pure Nimble, and it's also going to be Idiosyncratic, Gleam Christmas Dusket Pure Brownie, Gamma Strawberry Swirl Pure Nimble, a Gleam SA Issa Dorogo Frail Smart, an SA Cosmere Pure Nimble, 2 Gleam Gold Scorbs being Pure Nimble, and once again Pure Nimble, 2 Gleam Silver Scorbs being Pure Nimble, and once again Pure Nimble. And it does seem like this may be Reflex's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. Alright, and it did just confirm with Reflex, who did just say yeah, probably, as in whether or not this is their final offer or not. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Well, before we get straight into this, they also said they can also offer in 200 tokens. So if that's going to be added in, which if that's the case, this trade is going to probably lean more towards a W than if anything. But let's say we're not including those tokens. This trade is going to have to push towards a thumbs up. Though keep in mind, for demand wise, it's not going to be the strongest trade you can get, specifically for the fact that GSA Issa Dorogos aren't really high of demand. Same with the fact with the Gleam Christmas Duskets, since this one's Pure Brownie, it's not going to be strongest in demand once again. And as for the Gamma Strawberry Swirls, those are going to be around 25 GR with bare demand. So the main thing that's going to have the strongest demand out of all these Loomians would be the Gamma Dakuda, which is going to be around great demand, and that is standing around almost 18 to 19 GR at the very highest. So overall, this trade is going to have to be an E/W. Personally speaking, I would definitely take this trade if you are around the lower end. Like for instance, if you have a Pure Clumsy Gleam Sapphire Scorb, you could definitely take this trade. For the long term, it may not be the strongest suit, but for the time being, you could definitely use those Loomians to flip around and get better natures and just better stuff in general. Well, this being said, let's get into our next trade. Alright, and the next trade request is coming from Moxie's_Roblox. So let's see what Moxie has to share with us today. So we start off with a Gamma Uncommon Dragodine from the 2024 event, Feral Clever, Gleam Dakuda Indifferent, Gleam Mecha Ikazune Pure Smart, Gamma Helvante Clumsy Nimble, Gleam Nevermare Pure Nimble, Rainbow Arceus Pure Smart, another one Pure Nimble, a Gamma Kapoink Pure Clever, another one Pure Nimble, Gleam Bronze Guardian Brownie, a Purple Wisp Obsidian Pure Nimble, a Gamma Imperior Brownie Tender, a Gleam Christmas Protagon Red Pure Nimble, Gleam Cosmillion Pure Smart, and a Rainbow Glissadia Pure Nimble. And they did just say everything, so it does seem like this is going to be their final offer. And with this being said, we also do add in and replace one of the Loomians with a Gamma Christmas Iridodon Pure Nimble. So with everything now shown, is this trade worth it? Personally speaking, because of the fact that we have a lot of Loomians here with really bad demand overall, I'm going to have to say this trade is going to be a thumbs down. The main GR value we're going to get from this is going to be around the Halvantics and maybe the Scalavas at the very best. The main issue with stuff like the Protagon, the Arceus, Glistadias, even the Ikazune itself, a lot of those have really bad demand, especially for the Ikazunes at the moment, especially with the whole duping thing. People are going pretty much nuts over everything that is going to be related to any of those events, just because of the fact that there were obviously duped Loomians. That being said, there's not really much to go on about here. A lot of the GR here is not going to be the strongest suit. And that being said, let's get into our next trade. Alright, and the next trade request is coming from I'm Sieti. So let's see what Sieti has to trade with us today. So we start off with the Gamma Dusket Pure Smart, a Gamma Magenta Cosmere Pure Brownie, a Gamma Odiyaga Pure Nimble, and it does seem like this may be their final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. Alright, and it did just confirm with Sieti, who did just say yeah. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Now we know for starters, Gamma Dusket is around 17 GR at the very best, almost pushing 20 GR. So we're going to keep that in mind. As well as for the Gamma Magenta, this one is going to be Pure Brownie, so it's going to be one of the preferred natures. So we'll see this at the max of 15 GR. And lastly for Odiyaga, it is going to have horrendous demand, but but it's going to be around almost 14 GR with very bad demand, as I did state. For Gamadiska, obviously that's great demand. For Cosmere, it's fair demand. And once again, for Odiaga, horrendous demand. So we're looking at almost 40 GR total with decent to fair demand, which isn't going to be a really strong trade to take. Personally speaking, if this were a 1-on-1 for a bad nature Gleam Sapphire Scorb, maybe you can consider it an E, but in this scenario, I personally want to do this trade, and this one's going to have to be a thumbs down. But with this being said, let's get into our next and final trade. All right, and our next and final trade request is coming from AidBree07. So let's see what Bree has to share with us today. We start off with a Gamma Protagon, pure nimble, Gamma Mecha Ikazune, pure smart, a Gleam Sandcastle, pure mind, pure robust, a Gamma Halloween Mistlebud, frail nimble, and Bree did just confirm by saying I would do these. So with this being said, this is going to be Bree's final trade. So is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, this trade is going to push towards a thumbs down. Do keep in mind that the Sandcastles alone is going to be at most 10 GR with really bad demand, and for the Mistlebud, that's going to be around 4 GR, horrendous demand. As for Gamma Protagon, we can see this being around almost 12 to 13 GR, with the very max being fair demand to good demand. With that being said, this is gonna have to be a thumbs down, but let's wrap this trade up. Alrighty guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join our Discord server. And while you're ready, go join Reliable Values, as their values are obviously, once as it says in the title, reliable. So I would definitely recommend it. 10 out of 10 experience so far. But don't just stop there. Head on over to my TikTok, as your boy does actually send over his shorts from YouTube to TikTok. So yes, I do post there. I have a little bit of a platform there as well. And if you guys could follow and share that account around, that would mean the world to me. Additionally, I also have my art contest, which is ending on August 15th. So at the time of this recording, it's currently the 10th. So just bear in mind, you only have a little bit of time left. By the time this is probably out, it'll be the 13th or maybe even the 12th. So keep that in mind. We have a lot of people submitting already, and you can have up to 3 submissions. Any further information you may need will be in the Discord server. Additionally, go cop some of our merch in our Roblox group. And if you also want for our Discord server, you can also boost it, because we are trying to get our own server tag. So that would mean the world to me. Well, this being said, remember, pineapples are vegetables. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Stay safe. Peace.